Hi guys, dear brothers and sisters. I'm glad to be back with another video. I'm talking to you today about our family, about how we communicate, how we interact with each other. And with that, I also want to ask the many questions we received as we stopped sharing our family life in the public way. We have been doing it since the early 2009 2010 years on YouTube. We took the kids out of the internet around like 5, 6, 7 years ago, but we are still very much driven by helping especially families to live a more peaceful life, allowing for more freedom and doing what is right. And so I'd like to share today how we as a family feel so very often like, and we are very often the pioneers, the family who is unique in many different ways. And that also comes from a place, from a background of being a German family. We, even though we haven't lived there ever, the kids never lived in Germany, but I mean, we still speak the language. You can hear my accent, and I feel that the German language is very harsh and can sound unfriendly at times. So that doesn't make it more easy in communicating in a friendly way. And I always felt for the longest while, and maybe this is a German thing, that we hear so many German families being so tough and rough with each other. But after having traveled for such a long time, I felt that this is not solely a German thing, that it seems to be a very normal to be very harsh and unfriendly with each other. You can see this in families, on playgrounds all around the world. We left the Airbnbs we spent the last half year in and changed it again for being in our RV setup, living on campgrounds and traveling all over Europe and the southern part of Europe. And so we met a lot of other families and also friends, and we were so surprised on how different most people interact and families interact with each other in comparison to how we do it. And we were even more surprised to see this happening with families where you actually feel that there is a lot of love and appreciation. They're very conscious. Lots of our friends are. They seem to be doing attachment parenting. Kids are homeschooled, or they do long time breastfeeding. They sleep together in a bed with the small kids. So there's a lot of awareness. Nonetheless, when it comes down to language and communication, there seems to be a disconnect almost. At least that was our perception, between the love that was within the family and the way how they dealt with each other. And again, we felt like maybe there's something wrong with us. Maybe we're too specific. We have too high standards, because we rarely see other families being so strict and so pure and clean with each other than what we are doing. And it came to our awareness, especially during the last weeks and months, being on campgrounds and being a lot out in nature and meeting a lot of other families, as our kids are so sensitive. Our youngest daughters are so sensitive to harsh language and swear words. And I also want to make sure when I talk about these things now and what you hear from me, that this is a very personal, individual approach. I'm just sharing what I discovered for myself to be true, without judging anybody else. I also hear a lot, because I was talking a lot about that with other families, and they said something like, well, we don't mean it that way. It's not meant in a harsh way. It just sounds possibly like this, but we just use those words sometimes just to release some anger, but it's not meant in a negative way. And and so I understand that it has a lot, possibly it has a lot, swear words might have a lot of harsher meaning, or we give them a harsher meaning than they're actually intended. And I will leave room for that. But nonetheless, I'd like to share how I approach these things and how we deal with them. Because to me, language is sacred. It's a very, actually, we are wizards. And the speech we use carries frequencies and energies. And for sure, you can enhance the frequency of a word if you put really meaning and intention behind it. But to me, still, a negative word or a swear word is not, can't really have a positive meaning. Yeah. So it has always carried some negativity and some lower frequency to it. And we have to see that words we use, the wizard language we all use, to me, I'd like to use it in a very specific way, expressing myself with the maximum amount of awareness, being very careful, because I am aware of the power, of the wizard power words carry. Words are nothing more than intention translated into a frequency. When we speak, we literally use here our throat and produce sounds, and they are frequency. So we produce frequency through our body that is then radiated in the space around us. And each frequency has power. It can get in resonance with other frequencies, with manifestations that carry frequencies. We create circumstances. We can even create physical things. We manifest through our words, later on through our actions, but the word is the first thing that is really visible or audible to the entire world. You can argue that it even starts beforehand. I will talk more about that later. But because there is an intention, there is a frequency that I hold, and only then I express. So there is something going on within myself before I even let the world know about it. But again, more about this later. It is very obvious, and almost like I approach this very scientifically, that when I express myself, and I express myself through words, I'm expressing myself outside in all directions with an audible sound, a frequency that will then be perceived by other people around me. And this does something. It carries an intention, it carries an energy. Sometimes it carries an emotion, especially swear words, negative words, and lower frequency words. They carry an energy. So they will do something by the people around me to whom I expose my words to. You see? And what this does, the reaction it causes, is on different levels. To even expand on that, on one level, it's what we physically hear with our ears, or what my beloved Katie listens or receives and hears through her ears. But there is more to it. The frequency we radiate into the world can be heard and does manipulate and create reality, not only through the things that we hear. Our entire body, a lot of different aspects of life can perceive the energy and the words that I'm expressing. And considering all of this, it led me to the conclusion and I'm talking really just personally about myself here, to be super aware and not use any foul language at all. And I wasn't brought up this way. I wasn't leading that life my entire adulthood, but I came to the conclusion and practiced this awareness using the wizard language. Yeah, we cast spells on a constant, in a constant way, using our language. That's truly what it is. We manipulate reality, we create and manifest through our language. And I made the decision to do this in a very conscious and careful way, not using any foul language. And this is I expect this of me, especially as a father and a leader of a large family, with kids around me and my beloved Katie, my soulmate since almost 30 years. So you will never hear me speak with a loud voice or using any foul language around my family. And as you can screen through my videos, publicly as well. I'm very careful with my language and with the frequency I'm expressing. That's part of our work we do, is being super careful about the energy that I put myself into, or the state of mind, the state of frequency I put myself into. And as an alchemist, I'm aware that I can change and transform any negative, judging, lower emotion or frequency I'm in. You see? But I'm very careful not to poison my surroundings with it. So I feel that I have this high standards towards myself, that because obviously it's not that I'm always peaceful and always friendly and always lightful. I'm most of the time, but not 100% of the time. And especially if I'm arguing with Katie, we don't argue really a lot, very seldomly actually, but we never have harsh language towards each other. We never use foul language or any of that. We are always respectful. That's the standard. My family doesn't deserve me being angry and expressing my anger towards them. My family deserves better, and this is my standard. So I became that aware that whenever I would feel angry, that I'm looking inward and I'm doing my work to transform this anger into love before I express it towards my family and in the sacred space of my family. That's what I have coaches for. That's what I have all the tools for. That's what all my practicing was aiming at the last 20, 30 years, to control myself and control my energy, and especially control what I'm putting out in the world, to not pollute the space within my most beloved souls on this earth, which is my kids and Katie. That's the standard, and that includes arguments or discussions I have with Katie, because I have never anyway any negative feelings or any anger towards my kids. Never. Yeah, I've overcome that through all the long years of work. I still do have sometimes disagreements with Katie. That happens. I don't have it really with my kids, but I have it with Katie. So this is actually the mastery, is dealing with that and learning to deal with that in long-term relationships. Possibly you can rely, but even there, my kids and my family can always 100% rely on me, on being a good leader. And I expect that of me. And I feel that I should expect that of me. My kids could expect that of me. And because Katie and I, as the mom and dad of the family, have learned since many, many years, decades, to communicate in a peaceful and conscious way, our kids never experienced anything else. And this is why we don't have any swear words or foul language within our family. It just doesn't happen. It's not happening. And this is why whenever we hear it, or especially our youngest daughters hear it used in our surroundings, that they are shocked. They are like, what is going on? Why are they talking this way? Why would you do that? And yeah, it requires from us as parents at times when we are with other people or other friends, and especially families who are not who don't feel that this is so important to them, or for whatever reason they're doing it, don't do it our way. Again, no judgment. This is just how we do it. This is what I expect of myself and how we operate within our family. It doesn't mean anything about you or your family. I'm just expressing our views and our reality and the way how we build communication in our family. But when we are exposed, and the kids are exposed to people dealing with that in a different way, we always have to do some work afterwards to just put this in relation to just talk with our kids about that, so they can process and they don't take this too literally at heart, you know. But we felt sometimes challenged about that, because we have these high standards and we almost never see other families being that careful with each other in regards to language. And again, that comes from a German family who is just by nature, our language is so much harsher and rough almost, yeah. So possibly that led to even more awareness, because there is so much negativity and unfriendliness in Germany and in the German families, possibly not even meaning it that way, but sure, it feels that way. So anyway, these are some of our thoughts, or the way how we deal with that, the way how we communicate, the way how we use the magical wizardry of language, transporting energies, intentions, visibly audible for the entire world, creating circumstances and reality through our words, through the power of our intention. And I believe not at the least or not last, that this is one of the reasons why we live such a happy and free life, because I'm so careful about my state of being and the state of being I put myself into. I take always full responsibility. There is no way of like making Katie responsible about me feeling bad, or some people even blame the weather for feeling bad, or a plate falls down and it shatters on the floor and they use a swear word. I would never do that. There is no, why would I give the power to a plate to poison the entire environment, toxify the environment of my family? It's just a plate falling down. I've created so much control over especially my language, that my family is not exposed to it, and nobody in the family is doing it. And the work is always directed inwards. If I feel anger, I still do that. Of course, we all do. There's nothing wrong with that. The question is, how do you deal with that? And some people say, well, I need to express it, I need to air, I need to vent it out. Well, do you really? Maybe you do, and that's fine. I don't feel that way. Just for me personally, I don't feel that I need to vent anger and towards in the sacred space of my family. I need to do my work whenever I feel it. I need to do, and I'm doing my work to transform it within myself before I even poison and strengthen the energy. Because the sooner we express something, that's the nature of a spell. The sooner you cast a spell, it takes a while and effort and knowledge to undo it, or to rewrite the program you just sent out in the world to do its thing. So there's no way I could do that, knowing about the incredible power I possess as a wizard. Yeah, I'm using the language and everything I do in a lightful way to spread love and to be a responsible creator. Yeah, speaking from the heart, from source, in the highest way possible. And whenever I'm not, I use the tools. I use the tools that I have to transition it, to transform anger into love. We all can do this. And that's how we operate. And if you feel that you want some support in regards to this, we are here to help and to serve. We work through our academy, supporting especially families, yeah, to create a more freedom, more joy, to experience more love, abundance in their lives. And language for sure is a big part of that. But actually it's then the visible, audible part. The work actually starts earlier, as I tried to explain to you here. It is only the audible thing that comes out in the end that creates so much specific reality and matter. We already create reality and matter just through our frequency, just through the energy that we are in, and through the work of alchemy, transition and transform energetic or emotional states we find ourselves in. The work needs to be done earlier actually, and the language and the reality is then just what follows afterwards. So that's what we do. This is where we help you with. This is where we are as a family with young girls and adult kids as well. Now you had a little insight, at least again, about our family, how we operate, how we see things, and now I'm interested in your opinion. Some people say, well, we're too strict. Why do we keep these high standards? It creates stress. How do you feel about this? Are these too high standards? Should you sometimes vent anger into the world? Should it be transformed within yourself first and not polluting the space of your family? How do you feel about this? I'm interested to hear about it. Please leave us a comment. This was our video. All my love to you, dear brothers and sisters. Let's become and be the best versions of ourselves, because our kids and the world deserves it. Bye bye. I love you. See ya.